Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Slightly clicky chair for some random reason, boy here. But welcome to the great series of One Hub. Welcome to the third last round. My name, of course, is Mr. Evil Dragon. Joining me again for the fifth time this season is the reserve commentator, now full commentator, and my partner in crime again for the second week in a row. It's Mr. Luke. Say hello, Luke.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Liam. Hello, everyone who's watching. Russia, it's a circuit, as I was speaking to you before, that's starting to grow on me on the on F1 games. It's becoming one of those tracks that in real life's a bit terrible, but on the games can provide some good action. There's plenty of opportunity for overtaking. There's also the possibility you could get some dodgy weather like we're seeing in points right now, and there's even a slim chance we could see the championship decided tonight.
Most certainly indeed. And welcome, of course, to round 8, not 7, which I might have put in the title. But nonetheless, Luke, we'll gloss over my slight mistake there. But we have a championship which is very much spicy up front. The championship, of course, Casper leads it 119 points to 96 to Colin. JM just 9 points back in third and 87. Then, of course, Cam, who took that spectacular and historical win in Monza for Ferrari just 7 days ago on 72. Linus Stern with cloudy balloons as well. Neon hoping for a miracle for his championship hopes this week as well. Currently 35 points behind him is currently Ali B. He's in 7th. He is out of this standings entirely. ST Max in 8th. Konkoffner in 9th. Rich in 10th. We've got Lamprim down 11th. Rogue in 12th. Jonas ahead of Tech. Waitley, Speederisky, Gogs, Farf, Okiki, who's still yet to score points this season, and Zondi down in 20th. And in terms of the constructors, Luke, I'll let you do them.
Yes, so the Constructors' Championship standings then, at the moment, perhaps unsurprisingly given how well, really how well both of the drivers have been doing so far this season. Racing Point are on the top, 55 points ahead of Haas. Williams have 96 points. It's 177, 122, 96. Red Bull just a point behind Williams on 95. Ferrari, partly in thanks to Cam's win, sort of have been marooned on their own in 5th, but they're beginning to close up to Red Bull. They're now on 78. AlphaTauri have 51. McLaren and Renault tied on 37. Mercedes on 20. And Alfa Romeo still finding themselves at the bottom of the championship on 15 points. So, as we've said, Casper can win the driver's title tonight, and I believe if Racing Point outscore the Haas team by about 22 points, the Silverstone-based team would secure the Constructors as well.
I'm afraid I have to say, Luke, that is incorrect from our maths with me and Cam, who did earlier on. And I'm not a mathematician, but 115 points can be scored for the rest of the season. They are currently 55 ahead, so no matter what happens, unless, of course, something breaks and the world implodes, they cannot. They're most likely go to next week. But in terms, of course, of Casper in the Racing Point, he can win the championship today. And I'm going to run you through this to the best of my ability, because I've got a nice little spreadsheet here. Well, a nice thing that says what happens. So, if Casper wins with the fastest lap, Neon and Cam and Claudia are all eliminated. They will not be able to win this championship. JM must finish 4th, and Colin must finish in 10th position for the championship to go on to the next race. If Casper just wins, again, Neon, Cam and Cloudy are eliminated. JM must finish 4th or 5th with the fastest lap, and Colin must finish 11th or 12th with the fastest lap. Now, if Casper finishes 2nd, Neon, Cam and Cloudy are eliminated again, and JM must finish in 6th, and that does mean that Colin would be safe for the next race. If Casper finishes 3rd, Neon is eliminated. Cam and Cloudy must win the race. Of course, Cam won last week, so who knows what can happen this week. JM managed to finish in 8th position again, of course. Good old, our good friend will be through of Colin. So, further down in 4th, and then it just goes onwards down like that. But we'll go through that throughout the rest of the thing. But really, Luke, it is all going to be about if Cam gets a good result here, he can get himself more close in the championship, because he really needs to do it. But Casper has all the eggs in the basket, potentially, and it's a slight chance to win this championship here today.
Yeah, the simplest, try and simplify it for you. If Casper doesn't win tonight, it's definitely going on to next week at France. Realistically, Casper, he's just over a race win ahead, so you've got to say he's a strong favourite. Colin and JM could take the championship? Cloudy, Cam, and especially Neon are going to need a bit of a minor miracle, I think, to even take the championship to the final round at Brazil, never mind end up taking the victory and the £25 voucher. So I can't see it being in the back of Casper's mind too much at the moment. He knows he's in a good position. What might make it a bit nervous is if he does have a bad race, if he does finish low down the points, or perhaps doesn't score whatsoever, then that'll really bring Colin and JM, especially if they both get good results, could really bring them back into the fray.
Yeah, remember, of course, that last week was Casper's worst result. I think it was around about 4th or 5th position. He is on the cold list, which isn't really that cold, all things considered, when he's had a stellar season. Talking about that hot and cold list, Cam is hot. He also got Driver of the Day, which for once in a while I couldn't find where it was because it didn't appear on my list, so I'll have to find it later on. But he was very much hot, of course, after that beautiful win last week. And you got to say, Luke, a first-time win is always a feel-good moment in a season, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. He'll have been delighted with how that race, especially with qualifying. He was quite a long way down in qualifying. We were perhaps wondering, is this going to be a bad result? But he shot himself through. We said he got a tiny bit of luck, perhaps with the safety car, but definitely made the most of it after that situation. And it was a supreme performance. I think JM especially might be feeling a bit aggrieved about how last week went, because until that safety car, it was looking like plain sailing for the Haas driver.
Indeed, and just going through it from last week as well, it was Cam's first race win. It was Casper's worst result. He finished 6th last week, to quote myself earlier. His previous result was 4th. Jonas last week got his worst result of 12th. Konkofner's worst result was a 15th last week. So quite a few people having ups and downs. Of course, Estimat's got 2nd position last week as well. That was his best result. His second best result was 6th. So a big improvement for Estimat. Is he hoping for another podium today? We'll find out, of course, in qualifying in just a few moments' time as I go and get the Taz up again, because I opened the wrong one up. There we go. Now I've got the correct one up as well. But, of course, it's all quite curious and very much open-end to see what we're going to get this weekend. Of course, though, the weather is another thing. What's it going to be? Is it going to be rain and sunshine, or is it going to be just sunshine? Let's find out now, and it is sunny right now, according to the Taz, and that's always good. Now, we'll be seeing, of course, presumably someone will let us know in the chat what it's going to be doing for the race, but sunshine already in Sochi, here in the area near the beautiful mountains, of course. The Sochi Autodrome, Olympic Games back in 2014, of course, the Winter Olympics, they hosted it back then. A very fantastic circuit for some people. I quite like the circuit to drive on. To watch, can be a little bit hit and miss, Luke, can't it, Luke?
Yeah, like we said, in the problem is in real Formula 1, dirty air being a lot stronger than it is on this circuit, and it's not a track where you see a lot of tyre wear. Out of all the circuits on the game, it's probably one of the easiest one-stop strategies on the game. Of course, here at One Hub, you've got to do 2 stops, and it is quite a long pit lane as well. It is the pit limiter line starts before the final corner, and you've already pretty much heading towards turn number 1, that flat-out kink on the straight by the time you go off that pit limiter. 24.5 seconds pit loss, so everyone should be making 2 stops. If you get damaged and have to make a 3rd stop, it's pretty much going to be a goodbye for any good chance you've got of getting decent points.
Most certainly indeed, as Casper comes on circuit. Only 16 drivers here today. Unfortunately, we are missing a few for reasons and whatnot. We hopefully all can return next week as well. We like seeing all our drivers here on circuit. Of course, sometimes they can't make it, but we have got some drivers on circuit. We have 16 of them right now. Of course, your championship leader currently on circuit. We've got a few other cars as well. I think Okiki, is it Colin actually on circuit right now? He is going to be the first car to start a lap time. He is currently coming through turn 13, 14 as I worked it out in thing. Now remember, turn around this circuit, he's not the king down there. He's classed as not a corner because remember, if a corner is more than 45 degrees, it is classed as a corner. That corner, by the way, don't have a guess how many degrees it is.
44.
Well off, 43. But very close to a corner, and I'll give you good points. I'll give you half a point for guessing that. But here we are then, on bottom of the lap then, with a good friend, Colin, then down into not turn 1. 43 degrees, pretty much might as well be a corner, because if otherwise you're going straight off into a wall if you don't turn. But down into what is turn 1. Heavy braking it, slide downhill, of course, into this little Mickey Mouse section, which they always want to be changing. They might change it to Bahrain spec in the future. Currently coming through the long, flowing turn number 3, then This corner just never ends, then it suddenly opens up into 4 and 5. Then right-hander, let the car run right out to the road. Then build yourself up, look for the massive boat on the horizon there, and make sure you make the turn for the next one into this little double right-hander then. Very easy to go wide as well. But nice and flowing through there into the back end of the circuit, well, the middle part of the circuit as well. And it's just pretty much just 90-degree rights, 90-degree lefts, Luke. It's very much a circuit which can provide overtaking, but there isn't really any corner names either to guess on.
No, it's very street circuity, let's put it that way. It has got that 90-degree left, 90-degree right, especially the final sector. Colin coming through turn 12, very difficult braking zone there, especially if you don't use ABS. That is mentioned as one of the action zones by the stewards, as well as the first 3 corners. Now coming in towards this tight, twisty bit to end the lap. The off-camber 15 and turn 16. Nice and clean through there by the man looking to carry on his championship challenge tonight through 17 and 18. Need to be careful through this final corner. It's very easy to get it wrong and invalidate through here. And a 130.345 from Colin. He'll be extremely happy with that. Casper, he's just coming through the second sector now. He is about half a second down on Colin at the moment.
Most certainly is. Looking down the field, then we've got Jem. He is not on a lap time. But yeah, you can say Casper not having the best of laps so far on those soft compound tyres. He was about 8 attempts down there on the telemetry. In terms of what's going on, Jonas up to P2. We've got Neon currently in P3 as well. Zone D in P4. What about Casper then? He'll slot himself up into P2 then. Quite a margin off of P1 though, about 7 tenths of a second, Luke. So far, early running, looks like Colin has the pace, but we know what Casper can do in qualifying. Those last lap amazing results he can get. Meanwhile, Cam up into 4th position in the Ferrari. Again, going on from that result last week, looks like he's on the up.
Yeah, looks like he is getting some good confidence after probably wasn't the best start of the season for him. Interested to see that Neon went for a lap on the mediums, and to be honest, it looks as though he's going for another push lap at the moment. He's 2 tenths up through sector 1. He was the driver brought into the drivers' press conference. Asked, it's the battle between yourself and both Haas drivers. Will you be able to help keep up your momentum and hold them off to help you and your teammate win the constructors? And he says, we feel confident. Haas look weak at the moment. There's still a lot of rounds to go, but I feel strong that we can win the constructors and that Casper can win the drivers' title. But also, he wants a victory. He's 3 tenths up at the moment, coming through sector 2. A 131.8 would be a very respectable time on a set of medium tyres, to be fair.
It most certainly would be. Then through the off-camber, then end of the lap. That corner, very easy just to get the car over-rotated then into the last 2 corners. Then here comes the racing point. Nice through 17 into 18. Then lay on the brakes, chuck it into the right handle. Then let the car run out as wide as you can without going too wide. Does improve by 2 tenths of a second then. Still P5. But he's going to be a very happy puppy so far. Now, we have still got quite a few people to set lap times. The only guy behind him is Zone D, and then that is, of course, it so far. Clanny Balloons was on a hot lap. He invalidated it on the last corner. He was on course for 31.5, according to the game. So we're going to put him around about P4 area. So a reasonable lap time for him, but of course invalidating around the circuit. And it's all going to be about track limits and penalties around this circuit. Look, they're going to be a very large provider for this race.
Yeah, definitely. I said that, as I said earlier, that final corner, if you invalidate through there, a bit like the final corner at Austria is another one that you need to get right. It ruins your current lap. It ruins your next lap as well. We actually saw it early on in the season as well as Austria at Canada through the final chicane. But at this circuit, because it's tarmac runoff area, there's no walls. When I play this game on regular corner cutting on like my team or driver career, I end up making my own circuit around here. And if some of these drivers have been practicing on time trial and trying to push every little bit out the car, there's so many corners. It's one of the few tracks where you could say almost every single turn it is possible to go off track and violate track limits and wouldn't really cost you any time. So it wouldn't surprise me if we get the majority of the field picking up multiple penalties, and if there's a late safety car, that could have a huge say in the final results.
Most certainly could be. Talking about results, meanwhile, it is on board with Tech so far. Currently having a bit of a better second half of this season. He got a very good result last weekend. He hasn't scored many points this season. Currently in, I think, 23 points so far. He's currently down there in 10th position. Good first sector. Looks like a reasonable second sector. Double green sectors, of course, 32.9 and a 31.3. So very respectable sectors, to be fair, then, into the last two corners. Let's see where Mr. Tech can go, then. So far, through the last corner, then, late breaks number 27, then, of course, to the line. P4, then, for the Renault driver, puts him ahead of Cam. That's good showing again for these drivers. It just seems, look, that it's a very much a circuit which does surprise a lot of drivers, because it's a track where some drivers do not like it. They call it a car park. I mean, it's not quite Caesar's Palace, but it's close enough to Caesar's Palace in my eyes. It's very flat, no undulation chains, and it goes around a stadium. But we've got other circuits as well that do that. But so far, like Colin on pole, Casper second, Jonas third, Tech fourth, Cam in fifth, Neon sixth, Rogue seventh, Zone D eighth, Waitsy in ninth, Ali B down in 10th. A few surprises low so far. JM down there in 13th.
Yeah, he's on an outlap at the moment. Obviously, Ali's on an outlap as well. I'm just looking at Kong Hofner, who may be the first person to actually get close to Colin's time. He's gone fastest of anyone in Sector 1, but he's a few tenths down on Colin in Sector 2, so it could all be about these final few corners for the McLaren drivers. See what he can do as he gets ready for the final corner. Now heading towards the finish line, and it is a 1:30.717. Lost some time to Colin in those final sectors. The Welshman with half the session to go. That time's looking, I don't want to say unbeatable, but no one can get within, what, 3.5 tenths at the moment.
Yeah, incredible lap so far then. We'll see what happens, but Colin's even managed to do some absolutely amazing stuff there, right? He knows something that we don't. Now, of course, in terms of weather, we have been told it's going to be dry, very cloudy, but dry, thank goodness, for the drivers. Might mean for us, it might be a little bit sceptical to see what happens as saw McLaren decide he wanted to make a new line there, Luke. It was Zone D. He's doing your strategy of just making your own circuit around this track, which is, to be fair, I wouldn't mind doing, because he hasn't actually invalidated either, which is interesting, but I imagine he's not on a flying lap right now, even though he's not on the timing screen. Looking down the rest of the field, we've got JM. He is on a lap time so far, and let's see what he can do then. Purple's second sector on the game. It's a double green sector on the Tasland, so here we go then through the last couple of corners. Let's see, should try and get himself probably in the top 3, Luke, don't you reckon?
Yeah, well, at the moment, he's looking like he'll be fairly close to round about where Casper is, probably just a tiny bit ahead. It all depends on these final few corners, but he should definitely be into the 1:30s, maybe even challenging Kong Hofner if he can nail the final corner absolutely perfectly. There we go, JM quite a bit faster, purple in the final sector, so Colin now is only purple in one sector. He was purple in 3 a couple of laps ago, but JM takes the final sector off him, goes up into second position, although, like, he's beating Casper at the moment. Colin's beating Casper, but I think they'd want to be a bit further ahead when it comes to the race, especially for the championship. But still, 7:30 to go. Still 6 drivers yet to set a lap time. I think Waitsy, he's just coming through turn number 2 now into this long left-hander at turn 3, which absolutely murders the front right tyre. We said it's not much of a tyre wear circuit, but if your tyres are worn, you'll feel it during that one on your front right.
Yeah, most certainly. I'm looking at, meanwhile, at Casper. He's got his teammates ahead of him as well. I'm wondering, is there going to be a cheeky toe between them? It's a little bit too far away. Might get a distant toe from this distance, but I don't think it would amount to much then. Here we go then into Sector 2. It was a green Sector 1. It's a green Sector 2 as well at 31.1. So it is a double purple sector on the game screen, but it is most certainly a little bit slower than that. Could slow himself very close to his rival so far. He's a championship. Wants to try and wrap it up to date. Could do it. Needs a lot of luck for that to happen. His teammate bails out of the way into the pit lane then. Last 2 couple of corners then. Nice and flowing through here. Nice and wide there. Managed to get all the speed on the exit as well. And it's, you know what, he's gone P1 then. So never mind then. It might have been a purple, and then very much a purple. It was green on the telemetry. But a last sector which absolutely decimated anyone else. It was a 26.1. That is absolutely incredible. It's over 0.3 of a second quicker than what some other drivers have been doing. 1/10 of a second quicker than Colin. If we thought we could have a battle here in qualifying, well, you know what, Luke? We said that Colin's time might stand put for a little bit. Well, Casper has just gone and taken that one and hit it with a baseball bat.
Yeah, and if he did get a sneaky little slipstream from his teammate, that's why they're winning the championship. At the moment, you've got to do teamwork. There's plenty to be gained on the 2 DRS zones here into the braking of turn 2 and turn 13, so might be worth the other drivers if they've both got both of their team here. So maybe Williams could try it with Okiki and Colin. Maybe McLaren could try it as well. Maybe even Haas. We'll have to wait and see. Talking of teammates being close together, Red Bull's now 6th and 7th as Cloudy Balloons has gone into 7th position. And let's not forget Neon, his time's set on the set of the medium tyres, so I expect when he does go out on those softs, he could find some time and he could definitely get up there with Colin, JM and maybe even his teammate.
Yeah, Neon really hoping to have a good result this week as well. He's having an up and down season, of course. He's currently sits himself, down there in 6th position. He's pretty much out of the championship. Unless he has an absolutely amazing result so far, especially compared to his teammate. It's one of the biggest gaps between teammates in this season. I think the other really big one so far, you might have to say, is between potentially the 2 Ferraris that are a little bit spread out as well. The 2 Red Bulls. There's also quite a few drivers a little bit spread out from their teammates. Though I say that, Neon and Casper are, I think, potentially the closest, actually. So I'll backtrack of what I just said, Luke. But nonetheless, teammates always going to be important to work together. So far, he is now on the soft tyres. The closest pair of teammates, though, like I said, 6th and 7th.
Yeah, and Ali, he was putting in a good lap there, was just on board with him. Fastest of everyone in Sector 1, just ran a bit wide coming through turn 6. And that is it, invalidated. Just like that, so has to go round. We'll have enough ERS and fuel, I imagine, to get another lap in, although his out lap will be a bit slow. Rich has gone for a set of the medium tyres as well, which I find quite intriguing, because I can't imagine, with it being about 1.3 seconds between soft and mediums, once everyone goes out on the softs, you're not getting into the top 10 on a set of medium tyres. So I think you might as well just go for the softs, because the tyre wear is so low around here, and of course it is a 2-stop strategy mandatory. And imagine bombing any damage or safety cars, every driver will go for 2 sets of softs and a set of the medium tyres. So surprised that Rich has gone out for that set of the mediums. Most of the drivers are in the pits at the moment. One that isn't, though, is Colin. He's just heading through the first sector now, trying to see if he can get back on P1.
There we go then, through turn number 3, then into 4 or 5 on the 2 of them. As mentioned before, it's always easy to make a mistake on this circuit, but I'm pretty certain it's 5, give or take the knowledge. It is a purple first sector so far then, so looking very good then. So far, it is also purple on the timing screen as well, so this could be a pole position lap time. Potentially need to try and salvage it and get back to Casper, because Casper leads his championship. Last thing Colin wants is this championship widening any more. Through turn towards the back straight then, towards 14 then. It is long flowing corner then, DRS wide open then on that Williams. Down then in towards the braking zone, spot it here, make sure you don't snap over his tip and do what Sainz did in 2015, nice and smooth through there. Under the bridge then into the back end of the circuit, the Mickey Mouse sections I like to call it. Just need to make sure you hit these corners and up over the anti-cambered corner then. The rear end wants to step out. That looked pretty solid for him then. A 31.9. Didn't look like it was the best second sector of all of them then. That's what he can do in the last corner. Still 2 minutes to go, but I don't think he'll get much more laps. He's run out of ERS, but it is back to P1 then. But what, 30,000th of a second, Luke? It's another purple last sector. That second sector, though, was not good as Ali B slots himself right into second position. 200ths of a second quicker than Casper.
Yeah, I was just about to say you couldn't fit much in between Colin and Casper. It turns out it was just the right size for a Haas car to get himself into. P2 then for Ali, and Casper, Colin and Ali are Race Premium drivers. Of course, if you're interested in Race Premium, you can check out the One Hub website. You get a free entry fee, you get a shout out, you get a special yellow name, and you get some special signatures for the forum, as well as a few more goodies. So make sure to check that out. It won't make you any quicker though, unfortunately. You can pretend it can, but it won't make you any quicker. We've got some of the final drivers coming out onto a lap now. Okiki's just starting his out lap. He was in the pre-race interviews. He says, do you think it warrants a place on the calendar? No. Says it all on his opinion on this circuit, I think.
Yeah, it does, Mr. Atlee. Neil, meanwhile, impressive lap. Tom puts himself in P4 and just under a tenth behind his teammate there. So the 2 teammates, 3rd and 4th position, and that can be very crucial in the long run around here, especially if one of them gets to jump and, well, especially if both of them get up the field. Meanwhile, Rich on those medium tyres, he's currently got a bit of traffic in his way, so I believe that might be Okiki or that might be Colin. It's Okiki just ahead of him there in that Williams then, just a few seconds up the road, and presumably gets out of the way then in towards the back of the circuit. Let's see where Brits can go so far, and you've got to wonder if he can get a top 10, that would be good. Got a feeling though, it might just be a little bit of a tall order though, but he hasn't got to find a lot of time, to be fair, if he wants to get up there. Well, about 1.5 seconds, but it's always possible for the last corner. Can he do it? The answer is no, he can't do it. That's P13 so far, so no matter what, he'll be starting on those soft compads, but to be fair, Luke, those soft tyres will be a little bit better nick in the race as well.
Yeah, I wonder whether, like I said, whether he was just thinking about starting on the mediums, but if you take 1.3 seconds off, that would only put him up into around about 8th or 9th place on the soft, so clearly thinking he's better off where he is, as Neon goes fastest on his second lap. On the soft tyres, 130.128. Things are really starting to hot up here. JM's putting in a good time through the final couple of corners here. In the Haas, he improves time-wise, but stays in 5th position. I'm just trying to see who else is coming towards the end of their lap now. There's been a few drivers invalidated. I think Cam's going to be one of the last drivers to finish off a lap. Tech set a wonderful time in the Renault, though, in the first and in the middle sector, to be perfectly honest. We could see Tech, he put in a good performance last week. Maybe that's just sort of giving him the confidence. This is going to put him a long way up the order.
Here we go then through the last couple of corners. Purple first sector, green second sector. What can the Renault do? Can he get himself up into the first row? Can he get pole? Well, it's a second row of the grid. It's 3rd position then for the Renault driver. And this is really spicing this championship. But look how close it is, Luke. Between, really, you've got 4 or 5 drivers all separated by, what, a 1/10 of a second? This is incredible pace right now. And you've got to say, looking down the rest of the field, who else on a lap? Well, it's not going to be Konkofner. Let's see what Cam can do then in the Ferrari. He's currently sits himself down there in 12th position. Green then in the 1st and 2nd sector. Might not be good enough for 1st. It very much is good enough 10 places back in 11th, Flo. And I think that is pretty much it then in qualifying. But what incredible stuff there. A 130.1 was pole, a 130.1 was second, a 130.1 was third. Guess what? A 130.1 was 4th, a 130.1 was very much 5th, Luke. Everyone separated by what? 50 thousandths of a second, give or take. This is incredibly close so far in qualifying, and this is going to provide an absolutely ecstatic race.
Yeah, you see this sometimes around shorter circuits. Russia is one of the longest circuits on the calendar. We're talking 90 seconds for lap time, and you've got 5 drivers separated by just over 1/2 of a second. The top 10 drivers separated by about 6/10 of a second. It is absolutely incredible how close it's going to be, and Casper, in what he's thinking, is not a bad lap time from him. He's only starting 5th on the grid, so if the drivers finished as they are starting, that wouldn't be enough for Casper to secure the championship. We have got 27 laps of racing, though, in between then and now, and that first braking zone at turn 2 can always be tricky, and it is a long slipstream up until then, so maybe being in Neon's place on pole might not be the best thing.
Well, very much so. We've seen it before, but I got to say here, as Tech in the chat says, he lost me 0.5 thousandths of a second. That might have done any difference. We'll find out. But just look how close it is between the top 5. I mean, say that the top 10 is all within 6/10 of a second. The top 9 are in 1/2 a second as well. We've got such a closely fought field so far this season, Luke. And it's all just starting to come alive. And I said earlier on to you, Luke, this could be a bit of a processional race. I don't think it'll be very close. Well, I'm going to be quiet because 62 thousandths between 5 drivers, this might provide some very, very close racing down towards the first corner.
Yeah, I think it could do, and with that difference between the medium and soft tyres, about 1.2, 1.3 seconds, that is going to be very crucial indeed for when you're going to want to spend most of your race on a set of soft tyres. You have to do an extra lap on the mediums. That could be the difference between winning and losing this race. If you pick up an extra penalty, that could be the difference between winning and losing. It is going to be so close. Extremely overcast at the moment at the Sochi circuit. That will bring the track temperatures down. They might just be able to grab an extra lap out of those soft tyres. Neon is on pole position. He's vulnerable to the slipstream, and he did set that lap on his second lap on a set of the Redwall soft tyre, so might have to pit earlier than some of the others. We'll wait and see whether that is a help or a hindrance.
Well, let's find out. But moving onward swiftly from qualifying, we have to talk about our sponsorship this weekend as well. Well, this week, I suppose, is more accurate term. And, of course, talking about sponsors, thank you to Next Level Racing, sponsors of the league, providing a GT-like cockpit as a prize to our giveaway winner. Of course, don't forget to say thank you to Liam RBS, sponsor of our trophy for this season, and don't forget to follow him on Twitter at Liam RBS as well. Thank you to 3M Sim Racing, sponsors of the league, by providing a pair of their sim racing gloves to the driver with the most poles and the driver with the most fastest laps as well. Of course, to our partner as well, Vespertine, partner with Vespertine, who supports our championship prizes, and ERT, the Going Gets Tough award as well. And by the way, Luke, if you wanted to, you could get 20% off this week's track at Sochi at the SC store using one hub rating with time to print as well. And don't forget as well to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to be caught up all to date with the going around of this season. And don't forget as well, the should be live on Twitch, I think, around about now, if I'm pretty certain, Luke, as well, if I'm not.
Yeah, Twitch for the Precision tier right about now. I believe it is Curtis or Storm taking us through that one. And then on the Pinnacle tier later on, the fastest one-hub drivers, YouTube, 25 past 8 with qualifying starting at 8:30. And once again, it is Jess and Matt taking you through that action. There are some extremely quick drivers in that tier. There's some extremely quick drivers in this tier as well. And Casper still with that slim chance of winning the championship. But like we said, I can't imagine that's too much in the forefront of his mind at the moment. Maybe with qualifying down in 5th and two of his two biggest rivals ahead of him, he's just thinking about getting things nice and careful and consolidating his lead in the championship and trying to maybe do some damage limitation if things don't go too well early on.
Most certainly is. Well, don't forget as well, if you want to get involved with the Taz in the chat, you can use the exclamation mark help, as Luke has sorted it, and it's working for once today. It sometimes has a bit of its problem, but you can, of course, do that as well. The things are in the chat. I'm not really very much a tech-savvy person, Luke, so you can explain it quickly.
Yeah, exclamation mark help in the chat. You get various commands. Probably best to wait until lap 1 of the race, because I know it needs to reset them from the qualifying, and you can find out information about penalties, fastest laps, championship permutations as well, if you want to know how many points your favourite driver would be on at the end of the race. And you can use exclamation mark help to get all the commands up. And that's where we get to give you information as well about how the drivers are doing, what damage they've got on their car, what tyre wear they have got as well. And it is all thanks to the IGK TAS system and T-Bode. So thank you very much for that.
Indeed, and that concludes our little sponsor section. Right on cue, because here we are then in the formation lap then. I gotta say, Luke, that was perfect timing. But here we are, formation lap, 2x2 off they go. There's a bit of lag I'm just seeing in the background there. One car just teleported to space in back, as that could always provide a little bit of a worry for some drivers, can't it? A lag. That was Jonas a little bit, but it's always possible, of course. We are basically end of a game cycle, and we've seen it before. It definitely can sometimes, with the lag, get a little bit worse, can't it?
Yeah, it can do, and especially on that run down to turn 1 where things can get a bit messy. That is going to be something the drivers are going to have to contend about. The man who's on pole position, he just needs to be careful about not giving everyone a slipstream. And Colin, who's currently in 2nd, he's admitted, my getaways from the grid have not been great. My race in the first laps enabled me to gain positions back, but with bad getaways here, you could easily be 3rd, 4th, maybe even lower than that by the time you get towards that first braking zone at turn 2. Probably one of the most awkward corners in Formula 1 racing, if we're being perfectly honest. You'll see a lot of drivers picking up time penalties at that part of the circuit, at other parts of the circuit. You might even see the odd bollard and front wing go flying, and we've already said if you have to make more than 2 stops around this circuit, it is really going to ruin your chances of a good result. In the top 10, we knew everyone was on the soft tyres. Outside the top 10, only Apex Rogue in 13th going for the softs, perhaps wanting to get that good getaway. Everyone else outside the top 10, so Cam, Zondy, Rich, Gogs and Okiki, have gone for the mediums.
Indeed, Akiki, of course, hoping for a better turn of fortune, still hoping for his first points of the season. Let's hope he can get something this week. Now, every time I've said that, Luke, I've cursed him, so if he has a bad race, he can blame it on me again, but let's hope that doesn't happen. But we've got a long race, 27 laps around this circuit. clouds in the sky, no rain, but what we have got is some lag potential, well, at least potentially for my screen, which God knows what could happen. So if it's lagging on your screen, Luke, then it's lag. If it's just lagging on my screen, then it should be fine. But so far, Neon and Colin are making F1 car babies towards the start line as they get themselves into position. So far then, as everyone glitches themselves to the line, and we are now just waiting for Mr. Okiki then. A lot of drivers, as one car is that zoned really far down the field. That's going to mean those tyres are going to be cooling ever so slightly. It won't matter too much as the tyre temperatures do reset normally around this game. But to the front then is the last car, the McLaren, gets himself onto the grid and slots some health ahead of the Williams. Let's get ready to go then, racing. 2 races after this to go, 1 championship which could be decided today. Very unlikely to do so then. But let's see then, with 5 red lights. There's the first, the second, the third, the fourth. When the 5th goes off, then we are underway here in Russia. Lights up, away we go then. Looks like a good start for Neil. Looks like a great start then for Tech. A bad start for Colin. He's getting swamped already down the straight. But look at Tech in the Renault, in the slipstream. He's going to the inside then, down towards turn number 1. Outside line, what's up for the Haas line, the inside there as well. Banging into the side of Colin there. 1 or 2 cars going wide. Debrino, one of the McLarens, I think a Red Bull of Jonas. Rich involved as well down there. All sorts of carnage then at turn number 1 and 2. But so far then, Neon leads its race from Tech. Casper up the 3rd, Colin is a 4th. As all sorts of carnage is unfolding almost 3 abreast there. The Alfa Romeo, the Renault and the one of the Red Bulls that are getting a bit tangled up as well, but looks like everyone at the front little gang got themselves off the start, but looks like all sorts of carnage down the back, Luke.
Yeah, zoned is picked up quite significant front wing damage, 38, and you might have seen some wheel bagging between Tech and Casper. Casper did not come out of that unscathed, only 19%, so he'll carry on till at least his pit stop, I reckon, or might come in a lap or 2 earlier, and then get that set of soft tyres changed. But look at Neon, because of that incident with his teammate and Tech, he's been able to escape. He's already outside of DRS zone. Of course, DRS isn't activated until lap 3 of the race, and I believe because of the way the detection point and the activation point is on this circuit, they will be able to use it into turn 2 on lap 3, so that might be something to watch out for. But a fantastic getaway from Neon. Casper had a good getaway as well, just trying to go around the outside of Tech. Kind of has set him back, obviously, with that front wing damage, and like Colin said, not a great start. He's dropped 2 places, and 1, 2, 3 in the championship. Currently 3, 4, 5 in this race. We could have some good on-track battle between these 3.
Yeah, in comes Zendylen on those medium tyres. That is not what he wanted to do. Of course, he was one of the only drivers that are going to be pitting so far. I'm surprised that Jonas didn't pit, because I definitely saw some debris getting flung up from his car, although it might have been a trick of the eye. Cam is currently ghosted as well. I think that might just be the game sorting itself out so far, because that just shows that Tech leads. But don't worry, he's not leading. We have Neon still in the lead of this race then, as everything just starts to sort itself out. So we'll just leave it on board with Tech for just a few moments time as the game sorts itself out. But so far the top 2 looks like, Luke, starting to pull away, especially with Casper with that damage. Kind of starting to back a few people up, likes of JM, likes of Colin as well. But still, this is kind of working in Casper's favour, because he's still ahead of these guys.
Yeah, you need good turning around this circuit, especially Sector 1, especially the final sector as well, and that's what's going to affect him. And as well, yeah, JM getting ahead of Colin in all of that. I wonder whether Colin had a bad exit coming through one of the corners, because he seems to have obviously dropped back behind JM, which is quite surprising without the DRS, as the order finally sorts itself out. But yeah, Neon just seems to be trying to escape here, Seb Vettel style at Red Bull. Tech trying his best to get away from him, but Casper, he might be vulnerable to a DRS move from JM in the not too distant future. Yeah,
the other McLaren's got damage. Look, he just ran into the back of Colin down into turn number 14. So both the McLaren's in the wars. In comes Cam as well. I'm wondering, potentially that might be for damage as well, because you did see he was involved in that carnage down towards turn number 1. But up front, like I said, Tech is currently closing, trying to keep up there. It's all really about that battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th position. You can see, though, looks like so far Colin's dropping back ever so slightly for JM. JM's trying to get himself up to Casper. Teklo trying to put some pressure so far on Neon. The first penalty lane, it looks like a Kiki then down there, so he's the first victim of the penalties on this circuit. But really, it's 1st and 2nd, and then 3rd down to around about was the 8th position so far because, especially I imagine, because of Casper's damage.
Yeah, you can see there, 2.1 seconds behind. Casper has lost about a second since the last lap to Tech, who's trying to get himself within DRS range at the moment. I wonder how long Casper's going to go on this set of soft tyres, because what I think Cam has done, he's gone for a very early strategical pit stop off that set of mediums. Softs will easily last 12 laps around this circuit, especially the second set of softs, so he's just trying something slightly different here. Tech's very close to the back of Neon, and JM very close to the back of Casper, but both racing points just managing to defend their positions for now. That will slow them down ever so slightly, and because of all those incidents, we've not got quite as long of a train as I was expecting. Cloudy Balloons is off the back of Waitsy, and Gogs quite a bit off the back of Cloudy Balloons, and the lead car that started on a set of mediums.
Well, look at this battle between these guys, but let's have a look then up to first and second, because this is most likely going to be a switch of the lead then. Let's see, a little bit of a bad exit load from Tech, but he should get the hindsight of DRS. 5-second penalty for Akiki again for speeding in the pit lane. Let's see, is Tech close enough to have a dive? He's not. I tell you who has got past, though. It's Tech, it's JM on Casper. Now it's going to be Colin who's going to be trying to get past the stricken Racing Point. With that damage, he might be able to get him straight away then into turn number 5. A little sliver up the inside. He knows, though, it's a long race. He does not want contact, and he's backed out of that one so far. He knows he'll have a double bite of the DRS in just around about half a lap's time. So, Colin being a little bit conservative right now, and why not? Only on that 4, Luke.
Yeah, Colin, he sort of... I think he knew really that the move wasn't on there, just tried to show his nose to the inside in case Casper made a mistake, but Casper's too wise, ready for it like that. Apex Rogue now picking up a time penalty. Casper is going to have the DRS though, off the back of JM. That will help him out. Both of these, in fact, all these 3 drivers aren't doing a fantastic job on their ERS management at the moment, especially JM, so he could be vulnerable to Casper again, and maybe even to Colin at some point in the not too distant future, but we'll just have to wait and see how these drivers do. Neon and Tech looking very good at the moment. When will we see the first pit stops? I think it'll be a while. I think this is going to be a race where you see drivers, well, I say it was going to be a while. In fact, Casper, obviously with that damage, is deciding it's not worth it anymore, and he's coming into the pits earlier than what he would have wanted to. Casper into the pits, our championship leader, is going to drop down the order here.
I'm wondering especially as well, he's going to have to change the notes. I'm wondering if he's going to be trying to get ahead of Cam here, because he doesn't want to get held up here and lose more time, because Cam so far, he's not too far back. He should, I think, jump his, looks like there we got Colin battling with Ali B then. So Ali B has suddenly decided he wants to fight then with Lee Williams. It looks like both the Hasses are just starting to come alive in this race. I'll keep a little eye out on the telemetry bar. It looks like, yeah, Cam's got ahead of Casper. So Casper is going to be lucky here. He's going to get some clean air, but it's looking relatively good. Oh dear, there, Ali B just lost it. He's caught it. As I was about to say, both of the Hasses were looking like they wanted to fight the Williams. One of the Hasses almost decided to throw it straight into a wall. And it seems to be easy to do that, lighting those rear ends. You've seen it this season, Luke. How many drivers have we seen just get the power on slightly too early and the rear end just have absolutely none of it and just bite straight away?
Yeah, it's sort of a feeling with these Pirelli tyres as well. When they go, which is why you see so many drivers half catch the car and it then grips in the opposite direction. And rear grip could be more important, of course, on F1 2021. The beta's out now. A few drivers saying there is reduced rear downforce on that game because of the slight regulation changes that were made. We'll have to wait and see as Neon and Tech coming into the pits here, as does JM and Colin. Now, will these guys go for softs like Casper and like Cam did, but Cam obviously started on a set of mediums, or are they going to go onto the mediums for a longer middle stint and potentially be quicker at the end of the race?
Well, these guys are all just covering off Casper. That's what they're doing. All of them are just covering straight off Casper. I'm going to go and get the tyres up. Let's see what they're all going on. Looks like a set of soft... all of them are mediums there. It looks like all on mediums. So Neon, Tech, JM, Colin... Where is the likes of Cam and Casper going to be in all of this though? It's going to be awfully close with some of them. I think Cam's going to come out ahead of Colin. Colin's had a shocker so far then. He's dropped a massive amount of time then because of all of this. He's come out way behind where he was just a few moments ago. He's lost about 2-3 seconds there, Luke. So he's dropped himself right down. Cam currently puts himself in, I believe you might as well say, a net 5th, would he not be right now?
Yeah, the thing is with Cam, he's going to have to take the softs to around the end of his useful life. Well, we'll see what we'll see how it works out. It would not surprise me though if he's still ahead of Colin at the end of this race, and Casper all over the back of Colin. Now that he's got that front wing fixed, Colin on a tyre that we know is about 1 second a lap slower. This is going to be difficult, I think, now for the Welshman. He's going to have to do all his defensive skills on this circuit. But Cam, like you said, he's having a fantastic race so far, and he's another driver that doesn't think Apex this track warrants a place at the moment as Apex Rogue. Just getting it wrong. That's coming out of, I believe it's turn number 14, and once you've lit those rear tyres up, you've got to be very careful to avoid sliding and spinning again. It can be a bit of a vicious circle. Wait to see comes into the pits, and it won't surprise me if Apex Rogue comes in as well.
Yeah, as we switch to that just on cue, by the way, almost seemed just it had to be that Casper has now got past Colin. So, just as we switch to a car having a mistake, just when the last movement we wanted to do, the TV directors have taken us to a different action. So, but I believe that would probably just be a DRS overtake, Luke, then down the straight. Look, I think he's going to get Cam straight away. Here comes Casper. He is having absolutely nothing to do with anyone right now. He wants to get up this field as fast as humanly possible. Up the inside it goes then of Cam. And set piece done. Straight away, the next car will be JM just a few seconds up the road as you're waiting for the top kind of gaggle of cars to pit. That's going to be Cloudy Balloons and Ali B so far. Neon got himself a little bit of a buffer so far to Tech and JM. Looks like JM starting to push on towards the back of Tech ever so slightly. Casper now in what is net 4th or 3rd position, because net 4th position as he right on cue, gets himself his first time penalty so far. In terms of penalties, by the way, it's 3, 6, 6 and 9 for your order then. So far, it's 3 seconds for Casper, 6 for Zoni and Apex Rogue, and 9 seconds for poor old Kiki then, who you must say is still not having the best of races so far this season. As in, I believe, comes your race leader.
Yeah, Ali into the pits, Cloudy Balloons. We've seen him do this before, go on quite a bit longer than everyone else. So Cloudy Balloons into the pits. Casper, he said he didn't want to get a penalty. He said it'd be difficult to keep it on 0 corner cuts, but he's already had 3 to get a penalty, and we're only on lap 8 of the race, and that was on a fairly fresh set of tyres. I'll be very surprised if he can keep it down to just 3 at the moment, but he's showing incredible pace on these softs, but he's got to go on the mediums as there's been another spinner, and this time it is zoned in. I wonder if he's managed to keep that McLaren out of the wall. He's had a bit of trouble so far this race, has zoned in. No damage though on that car. Tyres, like I said, will have overheated a bit, so just needs to calm it down, but he's able to continue, able to fight another day. We've seen a few mistakes. Wouldn't surprise me if we get a safety car here.
Yeah, it just looks like I'm just riding aboard and you can see the tyre marks there as I looked at on the Kiki then. It just looks like they're getting the tyres revved up on the exit of turn, I think, 14 into 15, I believe it is. Latter of the circuit, just on that curb, it's just so easy to light up. Normally it's the corner afterwards, which I always say it's the off-camber corner, which is so easy to drop it, but, well, it just shows what I know today, because everyone seems to be dropping it at the corner before that. But we'll find out what is exactly going on. I think that's the 3rd driver we've seen today drop it around there. He's got a bit of a train then starting to form. We've got Tech, JM, Casper really starting to rock it up then. He's starting to show that championship leader mentality he's got so far. Cam, not too far behind. We've got Ali B now ahead of Colin. Colin is not having a good time of things so far. He is just dropping back and back and back. We got report, by the way, that he got held in the pit lane as well for no particular reason then from Rachel then. So, giving us the insight of exactly what happened there from the race engineer then of Colin. Which is a little bit weird, of course. It has happened before. The driver's getting held up for can just be what you'd think is to let other cars through, but really it's safe to go, but the game's holding you nonetheless. It costs you a huge amount of time, but here we see now the battle for 3rd position. We got again a McLaren off. That Zoni again, the same corner, has dropped it down into 14 then. Whilst we keep an eye on this gaggle of cars up then for the battle of 3rd, 4th and 5th.
Yeah, and I think as well as Colin getting held in the pits, Tech must have got held as well, because he had a bit of a gap ahead of JM before the pit stops, and now all of a sudden JM obviously right on the back of him. JM a bit low on his ERS, still around 10%, which is why you see the red light blinking on the back of that Haas car every now and then, but Casper, he needs to work his way through on these soft tyres. If he starts getting held up now, this strategy of his is really going to fall apart, as later on the race he'll be on the medium tyres. Most of the drivers in this race will look to be on a set of the softs. Cloudy Balloons again going, to be honest, going about as long as I expected most of the drivers to do on the soft tyres. I thought most of the field would do about 8 or 9 laps on the first set of softs, maybe a bit longer on the second, and hardly any laps on a set of the medium tyres, just because of the deltas between the red-walled and the yellow-walled tyres. So even though Cloudy, when he pits, he'll come out maybe even behind Waitsy at the moment in what would be 9th place, could be in good stead at the end of the race when he has got the fresher tyres. We'll just have to wait and see how it works out for the Red Bull driver, but he's trying to keep his fledgling championship chances alive. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be enough once it all settles out after the pit stops, but he's giving it a good go.
Right, we'll give you the rundown. Is the race unfolds of who can finish there where for the championship as a yellow flag. So I hope that's not a Kiki who's gone off. I think it's a Williams. It is a Kiki who must have gone off. But here, look at this though. The battle then for the third position there is now around the outside. Here goes Casper. Late braking there around the outside. He's completely forced off the road there. Completely nothing he could do there. JM held his line. Casper tried the long way around. It did not work. Took the escape road there to not get a penalty as Ali B goes round the outside then of Cam, as we're starting to see a few cars getting themselves in a little bit of battles then, but JM really giving absolutely no room, as he rightfully doesn't have to give there through that corner. He had the racing line, he had more of the car ahead, he had the right to turn in of course, and just ran Casper right out of road. Yeah,
Casper, I think he got a bit deep, to be perfectly honest. His right front wheel was alongside the left rear of JM, and at that point, especially here at one hub where you say you need about half a car alongside to be entitled to that space, there was never a lot Casper would be able to do about that. Going the long way around though to try and avoid him getting the penalty and the warning, which is a very smart tactic indeed from Casper, and I'm just going to check if that worked. He didn't get a warning for that, and he is right on the back of JM here, but those soft tyres, as we've seen from Ali getting ahead of Cam, those softs might just be starting to get overtaken by a set of the medium tyres, as I believe that is Zondy around again, just after putting on a new front wing, goes around at turn 2, gets away with it though this time.
Here we go then, round number 2 as he got a Kiki off as well, and that might cause, you've got yellow flags, you've got both cars off, you've got a Renault off as well of Apex Rogue. I'm wondering if we're going to get anything else. No, it looks like it's all going to be nice and set there. Casper really dropped back all of a sudden then for JM. I thought for a second we always had a safety car because it said yellow flags 1, 2 and 3. But nonetheless, it is not. I'll tell you what so far though, is Tech. No matter what's going on there, he's got this incredible battle so far with JM. He is doing a stellar job so far in what is a net second position so far, as Apex Rogue has retired. He's in the pit lane, so should not be a safety car. But yeah, say his teammate so far really punching above where he has been so far this season. Had that great result in Monza. Without doubt, he probably could have got himself a podium had it not been for some shenanigans that happened in his own admission. But so far, on that podium so far, he's got JM low. Looks like he might line that move up this time around. Tech's going to have to try and cover the inside line, because he'll have to give him the outside line, but it's going to be a bit of squeeze and then just force him wide. Does do so then. Good placement then from the Renault driver, and this is just backing all of these drivers up into Casper. It's slowly backing up into Ali B as well, and this is really just kind of infuriating. Imagine Casper, he probably wanted to get past these guys pretty quickly.
Yeah, and he's not been able to do so, and I don't think it'll be too long before you start seeing Ali getting onto the back, maybe even dragging Cam and Colin along as well. Cloudy Balloons comes into the pitch, should come out behind Waitsy. JM a lot closer to the back of this time. He's going to have to go all the way around the outside of turn 1 though, and he's got no ERS, so this is just pretty much a straight line engine battle, and Casper going for the inside line. We're going 3 wide into turn number 2, and we end up with Tech and JM make contact, and this could be a brilliant chance for the championship leader. Can he go all the way around the outside at turn 3? And again, he's just not got the ERS to do it, so JM, really the big loser out of that, drops down to 4th place. Tech holds on to 2nd. Casper, he's up to 3rd.
Yeah, JM then tried to go around the outside. It almost worked. Again, though, like we've seen in the space, we saw that with Casper and JM. The driver ahead has absolutely no reason just to give you the entire spatial room then to try and make that move around the outside. Remember, you have to get half the car alongside to really be able to do that. JM ran out of the ERS pretty much at the last opportunity. We got a car, that's a Kiki going around again. So, well, you could say it's gone from bad to worse for a Kiki. Here comes Casper. Let's see, can Tech try and defend at all? Well, you know what? Casper says, I'm going for the inside line. Commit to the inside line. I don't think Tech's going to fight that one too heavily this time around. He knows right now that Casper on a better strategy right now. He knows keeping him behind. He's lost in time performance probably as Casper because of the dirty air. Right now, though, it's going to be the battle between JM, Tech, Ali B. Cam as well, not too far behind as well, mind. Remember, he's also on those soft compound tyres. Probably going to around about lap 15, 16, I imagine, Luke, don't you imagine?
Yeah, I think that's what we'll have to do. And Casper, you can see there, went straight over to the right-hand side of the track on the run down to turn 1 to stop Tech getting the slipstream. JM's decided to stay in the slipstream of the Renault driver until the last possible moment, but can't get close enough under braking. Cloudy Balloons has got ahead of Waitsy for 8th position. I said this battle in between Casper, Tech and JM is going to drag Ali, drag Cam, drag Colin back into things, and with how close it is at the moment, let's not forget Casper has a 3-second penalty. At this moment in time, that 3 seconds would drop him from 2nd into 7th place. Still over half the race to go, still a lot can change from that point of view, but he's going to have to start hoping, like Tech has just done, that some of these around him start picking up these odd 3-second time penalties.
I think you almost timed that to perfection there, Luke, didn't you? You were about to say getting penalties, weren't you?
Exactly, I was just about to say it. And Tech, unfortunately, he proved to be a willing victim for myself, and it does look as though Tech is Tech started to struggle. He has got the DRS, but he's not that close to Casper, and might even be close to actually dropping out of it in the next, maybe even in the next straight, and that'll be just the chance you imagine that JM needs.
Well, he's currently 8 tenths behind, 9 tenths behind, now just about a second behind, we imagine. Those soft tyres, though, will start dropping off very soon, remember, because they can last quite a while, but just look at the gaggle of cars behind him. We've got Tech, we've got, I think, is Casper coming in? He is coming in. Well, there we go then, you know, Luke, I was about to mention those tyres won't last very long, but he's straight in the pit lane then. And that's a very interesting strategy. Now, I'm wondering if he's hoping to get some clean air. Let's see, he'll come out behind the Mercedes, that's a Red, so he should be all good then. And now look at this battle, here comes Tech against JM. JM trying to go around the outside, still won't do it there. As behind her, now good exit. And now he has the inside line there down towards the long left hand. And now he has the front end ahead. And now it's all going to be about pretty much a drag race then. Let's see, is Tech going to sliver on back down the inside in rebellion? He is. Little bit of banging. Here comes the other Haas then to have a little look up the inside as well. Can't quite do it as they almost rub wheels then. Round the outside, let's see, force him all the way off the road there. Almost into the wall. And this is getting a little bit, what you could say is close for comfort right now between these guys. And this is probably exactly what Casper is hoping happens, as these guys all suddenly get themselves in a bit of a boxing match and end up starting to take each other to the floor.
Yeah, JM's already got 6% front wing damage, and this is exactly how Casper got ahead of JM earlier on, when him and Tech were battling. Tech again defending the inside. JM's got the outside. He's ahead long before the corner, although Tech sent one up the inside. That's an aggressive attempt at a send, and I think he's just going to find himself getting pushed wide. And look at that. Ali B says, thank you very much indeed. He takes that position there. This is getting a bit feisty now. Tech in 3rd, JM in 4th place. The biggest winners out of this is there's 2 racing points. Casper and Neon. We haven't spoken about Neon. He's 6 seconds ahead at the moment with 13 laps to go. He is loving how this race is going. The Cloudy Balloons, Cam came on into the pits. That'll be for a set of soft tyres to take him towards the end.
Yeah, you got to say that's aggressive but fine. Vettel moving there. Ali B takes the spoils of all this as JM stuck still behind. He is getting flustered in that cockpit right now. He knows, though, that he is still in this championship fight, but he knows right now he needs to get ahead of Tech, and then presumably Ali B is going to let him back through later on in the race. That is the guess right now, as a Kiki a 3-second time penalty. He's having a torrid time so far. 18 seconds he's got so far. And remember, it's 30 seconds when you get to disqualified. He's got half the race still to go, and he's over halfway there, so you hopefully have to try and iron out those penalties a little bit later on in this race. But JM just sitting there, just watching the rear end of the Renault. You can see the rear end snapping ever so slightly. And remember, these guys are probably going to, I imagine, around about lap 19, but then chucking on a set of soft tyres. But you can just see, though, no ERS for JM. He's getting himself all sorts of caught up right now, as you can see. Behind them as well, we've got Clanny Balloons really starting to close up on this as well. This is just all starting to get very, very much the battle for second position. As Apex said, he had a default setup that didn't load as he wanted, so that's why as in comes JM and also in comes Colin. They're going for surely a set of mediums, Luke.
No, a set of soft tyres, I'd imagine now, because of the difference in the deltas. I think it'll be a set of soft tyres trying to cover off Casper, but they're going to come out quite a bit behind him and probably try to cover off Cam as well. And this could be where Casper's strategy backfires. He's going to be the lone call on the mediums, I reckon, while a lot of drivers around him are on a set of the soft tyres. We'll have to wait and see what they do, but Neon looking pretty good. Ali in second, Tech in third. Cloudy Balloons with those slightly fresher mediums, if he wants to take them a lap or two longer and then go for a fresher set of softs at the end of the race for fresh soft tyres, he's going to be looking very good indeed. And there we go, Cam has got ahead of JM and Colin as well. They are all on soft tyres. This is looking good again for Cam. He looks to have called this absolutely spot on, just like he did last week.
Well, now this is really the bit between your two. This is the bit where you have to get on with it. He's going to the end of this race on those soft tyres. Now, if JM and Colin catch you, if I was Cam right now, I would wonder, I'd be kind of thinking, there's a podium shot in all this. If you can, let's say you got the likes of Ali B, Tech, Cloudy Balloons, all yet to come in the pits. They are all going to be going on a set of soft tyres, we presume, as well. So we imagine actually surely Ali B, Tech and Claddy are all going to come in this lap, Luke, don't you imagine?
Well, Neon has, we'll see what they decide to do. We've got one of the Williams coming in. That's Okiki Neon into the pit. I think you're right. Ali and Tech have got to try and respond, and Ali's deciding to go on slightly longer. He did pit a bit later than some of the others, so maybe that is why Tech into the pit. I'd say Cam is pretty much in a net third position here, where you count Casper's penalty and, of course, Tech's penalty. Considering that Cam's on the soft tyres, he's only about 3.4, 3.5 seconds behind Casper now. He'll easily close that up. This could be another podium for the Ferrari driver, and if he does catch and pass Casper, this could be bad news for the Racing Point driver. This could really cut into his championship lead, because I'd imagine JM and Colin might be able to get fairly close as well. We'll see where Tech comes out. He's going to be behind Cam. He's going to be behind JM. Is he going to be behind Colin as well? Yes, he is. In fact, it's looks fairly comfortable for the Williams driver. Shows the power of the undercut around this circuit.
I tell you what, you want to look here as Neon is just ahead of Casper, by the way. Look how close that was between those two. I'm wondering here, and it is a shot. I don't think it would happen because different strategies here. But I'm wondering here, is Neon just going to try and drag Casper along with getting him in that DRS range for as long as humanly possible and just try and open up the pace right now as much as they can?
It's possible, unless it gets to a point where it's going to leave Neon vulnerable to an attack from behind. Maybe it would work out between them. It would be fairly good. I think Casper did actually say in the pre-race interviews that he wasn't sure whether they were going to explore any slipstream or any team tactics between them, but we'll see if they do it right now. It's whether Casper's actually got the grip and the pace to stay with Neon, because so far today Neon has looked the better driver out of those two. He hasn't got a penalty. He qualified higher. In terms of warnings at this moment in time, Neon's only got one warning, so he's doing very well indeed. Ali B has got two, with JM he's got two, so they're the both Hassers at risk of getting a 3-second penalty towards the end of this race as Ali B does come into the pits.
Indeed he does. Meanwhile, here is the battle for what is going to be now 6th position, as here comes Cam and JM batting together. Here comes JM then with the slipstream. Both of them, no ERS to fight with. Both of them all using just the power of the cars. One with DRS though, one without it. Here comes the Haslin down the inside of, well, you might as well say the sister team, the Ferrari. But the Ferrari says, no, I'm coming back around the outside then. Good undercut then here as Casma tries to go around the outside. Can't quite do it. JM fighting for all his whip then. Keeps that position, then keeps the battle right there. As everything just starts to go like clockwork. We're still waiting for the top 3 to come into the pit lane. But now JM going to be trying to catch Casper And that is going to be really the battle then, because you'd imagine surely JM might just had a bit more pace than Callum so far. Colin, you got to say, look, doesn't look like he's got all the mightiest pace like he was showing last week and a couple of races ago as well. Looks like it's kind of plateauing. We got yellow flags there, as that's a Kiki getting out of the way, I believe, actually, as everyone is for the second time this season, getting himself well out of the way of everyone. And if so far out of Kiki, isn't he? He's not really having the season to remember, the poor man. But nonetheless, though, he's soldiering on, and that's what we like to see, Luke. A driver keeping on the road, keeping himself as far as he can, not giving up. Meanwhile, the two Red Bulls lead this race as in comes Con Koffner. Finally, 15-lap hold medium tyres.
Yeah, Kong pitted early on with that damage, of course, so he'll go towards the set of the softs. At the end, you say Colin's not got the best pace at the moment. He has currently got the fastest lap of the race, so we will get a bonus point for that inside the top 10. The bonus point for the fastest lap outside the top 10 is currently going to go to Gogs, who is in that 11th place at this moment in time, although that could change, of course, with penalties for some of the drivers ahead of him. So Colin, he's trying to get himself onto the back of Cam just to help him defend from Ali and Tech behind, who will have the DRS, of course. Casper, that tactic of him trying to hold on to the back of Neon just hasn't worked. Neon streaking away at the moment, barring a safety car, barring any chaos. It looks like a Racing Point is going to take the victory today, but for Casper's championship hopes, it is going to be the wrong one. It's not going to do them any harm whatsoever, though, in the Constructors' Championship, which will go to the next round. It is starting to look, though, when, not if, the Racing Point team will get it. JM is in the slipstream of Casper here, but again, no ERS, I should say. He's making it extremely difficult for him to overtake. No such problems for his teammate, though. Round the outside of Colin, Ali up into 7th. Cam will be his next target.
Yeah, it just looks like the Hasses just, again, this season seem to suddenly find a lot of pace right near the end of the race. We saw it previously. JM and Ali B looking good. As in comes Jonas Len from 3rd position. The Red Bull Len, that means Neil now up to 2nd position. Yellow flags. Okiki going slowly. It is Okiki going slowly. Got himself back going again there as he's just trundling around and keeping himself out of the way of all the drivers there. You can see the DRS train there. And this is certainly Casper behind JM. There we go then. So JM ahead of Casper then. Just that's the DRS then, the power down the straight and straight through parts then, as everyone just starts to close up. Then we've got the battle then for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, really down to 6th and 7th. You got to say though, big loser in all this has got to be Tech so far, Luke. He's dropped himself well down. He was running, well, you might have said was a net 3rd earlier on.
Yeah, that penalty, and of course, having a few battles, losing out on the undercut has really cost him here. Tech, he's going to get some points. He is going to finish, you'd imagine, in 7th or 8th place. It all depends on where Cloudy Balloons comes out after his 2nd compulsory pit stop, because I do believe he's the only driver at the moment to have only done 1 stop, as Zondi's picked up another penalty. We saw Okiki's name popping up as well. Okiki's name might be burned into my screen. He's picking up that many penalties, unfortunately. Casper, he's just got to try and stay with JM. His medium tyres, I imagine the reason why JM got the move done is he had more traction coming out of turn 18, and there was nothing Casper could really do out of that slow final corner. He's got to try and stay with the Haas driver at the moment, just to try and help him with the penalty situation. He'll drop to 7th as things stand in this race. Depending on how fast Cloudy Balloons goes on the soft tyres, he might even drop towards 8th place as well, which is not what you want to be doing if you are Casper. It will allow JM to close up quite a lot, and even Colin will be able to just close by that extra couple of points. And speaking of Colin, he's right on the back of Ali B here. Both of them have got the DRS. There has to the inside. Colin trying to go around the outside, thinks better of it for now, but if he's forced Ali to go deep, this might be a chance for Colin to go all the way around the outside of turn 3.
Let's see then, long way around. This is the 2nd time you've seen it. It just seems like this corner, you're going to try and you end up doing what Bottas and Raikkonen did back in 2015 or 16, if memory serves, that they banged into each other and a late diving move. So far, though, everyone just keeping themselves out of the wars so far as Akiki gets himself another 3-second time. But in terms of Akiki's penalties, by the way, he is 3 seconds off getting disqualified right now. So are we about to see a potential disqualification? I think that might be the first time we've ever seen it from memory serves this season, and very much might be the first time in one hub for a very long time. If I am pretty much correct, Luke, and I think you could confirm if it is 30 seconds, is it not, with a disqualification?
Yeah, it's definitely around that region. I know I've seen it. I've seen it happen around a few tracks. Austin, another one like this where there's a lot of tarmac runoff area. France and Russia, they seem to be the main tracks where you get this sort of situation. But yeah, Okiki, definitely not far off that now. He's treating this as a practice session. He's just treating this as learning. I think it's fair to say this podium tier hasn't gone as he'd have expected, and he'll be hoping to reset on the next season, season 19, on the brand new game. Cloudy Balloons finally comes into the pits then, so Neon in the lead, JM up to second, Casper in third, but he has got that penalty, which would currently promote the Ferrari of Cam K-Mom into fourth.
He hasn't got the DRS, here we go then, straight past then for Cam, then up the inside. A bit of a mistake then from Casper, the corner before. Lost him a huge gaggle of time, and now look at the cars behind him as well wanting his head. I've got to say, this has not worked in the slightest for Casper. He is probably, you might have to say, just sitting there looking at all of these guys and wondering, should I have done something different? Hindsight very much is 2021 right now for Casper. It very much is not going the way he wants so far, but never say never, of course. He's still in fourth. Maybe a 3-second time penalty, but remember behind him as well, we've got 3 for Colin, Tech and Waitley as well. So all 3 of them have got penalties as well as Casper as well. So it's all just going to be about if he can keep those tyres and how long he can keep them, and hope these soft tyres go. And there we are, Okiki has been disqualified from the session by receiving too many warnings. As Tech, I believe, is going round the outside then of the car then of Colin. And has he got the inside line and into the next corner? He has got past then. As now, Waitley also trying to battle this as well. It is really, might say, going quite well for JM in all this situation, isn't it?
Yeah, out of the top 3 in the championship, he's the one who's standing to gain quite a lot at the moment. Casper's going to currently drop to 5th position. Colin would stay in 7th, but Cloudy Balloons is only 5.6 seconds behind them without a penalty at the moment, so he can make that 2.5 seconds, and he's got much fresher tyres, half a second a lap, and Cloudy Balloons could knock Casper and Colin down another place, as Casper, Ali's got ahead of the racing point there, and Casper got quite a bit shoved, and now he has dropped back just a tiny bit more. It's not going well for him at the moment, but with every lap, those mediums will be in better condition than the soft tyre. He's got 27% on his front left at the moment. Tech has 26 on his front left, so the softs obviously still having that advantage, but it is decreasing lap by lap, and the chances of Casper holding on from Tech, from Colin, from Waitsy as well, get better each and every lap. He's just got to try and hold on now. He knows overtaking is going to be exceedingly difficult. He's trying to make sure that he stays in DRS zone to keep the cars behind him.
Well, that is the question, of course. Getting close is one thing, passing another. Now, passing with DRS is, you might have to say, a very easy manoeuvre. Talking of DRS passes, here comes Ali B then on towards Cam, and now it is a 3-4 for both of the Haas drivers then. So, you might just say, Luke, that Racing Point was saying that Haas are going to be easy meat so far. Well, right now, I figured it stands. Haas are going to close that championship ever so slightly towards Racing Point. It's what, 25, and it's what, is that 10 points I think for Casper, so it's 35-ish then for those two, give or take 1 or 2 niggly things with my maths. You got to say, though, second and third looking quite dandy for both of these guys. Ali B then probably now, I imagine, is going to hold station then compared to his teammate. That is surely going to be the team order if there is one. Cam, so far in 4th. Behind him, Casper. Looks like so far he might just stay there for the time being, because Casper doesn't look like he's got much pace, and he's going to be back. He's probably going to be looking backwards more than forwards in the next coming laps, because Tech, Colin, Waitley, we've got Cloudy Balloons as well. Mine, he's coming out of Rater knocks at these guys.
Yeah, he is doing as well. One thing I've just noticed on Casper, which is going to be quite worrying for him, his fuel. Tech has got a lap extra spare fuel at the moment, so he'll be trying to burn that off without overheating the engine, because then it becomes a bit ineffective. Casper, he's basically bang on at the moment. He's 0.00. He's just changed to being exactly the right amount of fuel that you need, so he can't really afford to go into rich mode too much in this race to help him defend from Tech, who might be able to do rich mode, which could make the difference here between 5th and 6th. for these drivers, or 6th and 7th at the rate that Colin is starting to close up to them. Neon, he's not worried about that at the moment. He's just thinking, keep it nice and clean, make sure that I don't get any penalties. And again, he's only on 1 warning at the moment for 2 drivers behind him. Both are on 2, so they need to be more careful than Neon. It's been a fantastic result from our pole sitter, just to try and limit that damage slightly in the constructors. I think as things stand at the moment, it would be 30 points for Racing Point, 31 for Haas, so a 1 point difference. Nothing for the Silverstone based team to worry about.
Yeah, it's still looking good for the constructors for them. Next week, of course, it could be wrapped up, we believe, but we'll keep you informed and keep you updated as all the things go around. But like we said, though, Neon, well, I said earlier on he was hoping to get these championship a little bit back on track. He might still be knocked out of it, though. I believe we'll have a little look potentially at the permutations and all of that in just a second, and seeing where everyone has to finish. You've got yellow flags there for Zondi, who's gone off into the wall then at the top of the circuit. His teammate's got a penalty as well, but if Casper finishes down in 5th, Neon is eliminated. Cam and Cloudy must finish 2nd. JM must score points. So right now, it is looking like Cam is going to get knocked out of this championship. Neon also as well. But behind this, we've got a huge gaggle of cars just wanting to get towards Casper. And right now, Cam probably wants to be, I imagine it is a bit of a strategy, just back Casper up into Tech and Colin. It's a risky strategy, but it could work.
It could work because Cloudy Balloons is now about 3 seconds behind Colin. So that's Colin possibly losing another place and Waitsy losing another place in all this. Casper could still finish in 6th place, which would still end Cam and Cloudy Balloons' championship chances as things stand at the moment. But JM and Colin, obviously it keeps them alive. Neon really needed a bit of a miracle tonight, and despite the victory, Casper scoring points is going to end his own championship chances. Cam had a bad exit there though, coming out of the final corner, because he's now got Casper all over the back of him. He's got Casper alongside him into turn number 3, and Casper all of a sudden up into 4th on track. What on earth happened to the Ferrari?
It just looked like all of a sudden he just opened the door up and went, well, there you go, Casper, you can have the position. It just looked like either he's got some, I'm not sure what the tyre wear might be, Luke, but it's definitely, I imagine, getting a bit heavy, because remember, 10 laps, remember the furthest we went on the soft tyres, 12 laps was earlier on we saw, so Cam's tyres are definitely going off very quickly, and this is exactly what, well, you could say that the likes of Casper were just hoping for, that the tyres just go off the cliff. And like I said, when the Pirellis go, how do they go?
Yeah, but Cam, his worst tyre is 50% at the moment, so it's normally on this game, once you start getting to 60, it gives you that warning, and then you do start feeling the tyres, and anything above 75% is you've got a chance of getting a puncture anytime soon. But yeah, Cam, I imagine it was more the rear tyres than losing it on traction, because he seemed very slow down the straight. Both himself and Casper are low on ERS at the moment, and that was very strange for the Ferrari. Won't cost him any positions at the moment, but with how spread out the field is sort of, maybe it'll just help Casper stay ahead of Cloudy Balloons after the penalties. We'll have to wait and see how things go. Final lap of the race then. Neon just coming through turn 2 for the 27th and final time. All he has to do is navigate this 5.848 kilometre circuit one more time, and he will take the victory in the podium. To last time it was actually Boris back in, I believe it was back in season number 14 the last time we raced at the Russian circuit. I think this is the first time on this game we've seen the Russian circuit, and Neon's going to be wishing it was here every season, because he's put in a fantastic performance.
Most certainly did. I think actually here, like, Cloudy Balloons is going to get a huge gaggle of cars. He's going to jump 1, 2, 3. He might jump 4 of them, actually. Depends on how close this could be. But like we said then, looking at Neon, so far leads this race. So far, nice and comfortable. 5 seconds up the road. JM and Ali B 2nd and 3rd. Casper and Cam are getting close together. This is going to be the last opportunity for Cam to try and make a move, then if he can do anything. Let's see, he's going to have to do an almighty dive then down here into 14. I don't think he's going to do that one. No, he's not. He's going to back out of that one. There's bigger fish to fry in this season. He doesn't want to end up getting himself a penalty. But here we are then. Through the last corners. He might get knocked out of the championship no matter what happens, but he's going to take a victory then for Racing Point. keeps the constructors alive for another race then, makes it go to the next race as well. Neon wins here in Russell then. JM really does a good job there in second. Ali B in third, has 2-3 then. Casper in fourth position there as hits the ball just across the line then. He is not going to finish that. Cam then in fourth. Cloudy Balloons is going to finish in fifth of all this. Casper in sixth. Tech 7. Waitley 8. Colin is going to be shell-shocked there down in 9th. Konkofner down in 10th. Gogs is going to finish 11th. Jonas in 12th. And that was all of your top 12s so far. Further down the rest of the field then we had Richard 13th and Zoni and 14th. Rogue and Okiki with a disqualification down in 15th position.
Yeah, and Waitsy actually getting past Colin on the final lap of the race there. Casper, it wasn't his greatest result, 6th position, but he came into this race 23 points ahead of Colin. He leaves it, still 23 points ahead, but now it is JM with Colin a further 4 points behind, so it's still looking good for the Racing Point driver because he's done such a good job at the start of the season. He can afford to just keep picking up these consistent results, and it is teammate Neon who takes his first victory of the season.
Most certainly indeed. We'll just go through then, of course, all of your best results and worst results and everything. Of course, Neon's first victory. It's JM's 5th podium of the season. Ali B's 2nd podium of the season. And the best and worst results will follow as nothing, apparently, so far. Because we'll wait and see if the TAS updates itself just a brief second. But we'll go through the results then. So, JM is going to finish down in 2nd. Behind Neon in 1st. Ali B in 3rd. Cam, Fine Fettled 4th. Cloudy Balloons 5th. Casper ahead of Tech. Waitley, Colin, Konkofner, Gogs, Jonas, Rich, Zone, Okiki, Rogue down in 16th. But to you, Mr. Luke, who is your driver of the day?
I am going to go for the man who pulled off the alternate strategy, you could say, absolutely perfectly. Finished in 4th place, kept it clean. I'm going to go for Cam, and I'm going to ask the question, was it always the plan to get rid of those mediums early on and do 2 longer stints on the softs?
Indeed, and my driver of the day is going to go. Let's go for someone. Let's see who's gone and had a good race so far, then. And I'm going to go and say, I've got to give it to Neon, I suppose. His first victory of the season. You've got to say to Neon, you might as well dominated that race from start to finish. You didn't really have too much of a battle between anyone. My main question to you, though, is how easy was it out there? And your first victory, you might be out of the championship, but how much of a confidence boost is this giving you and your team as you head towards the final 2 races of the season? And is this Constructors now truly going to be in the bag?
I think that's a very good question, and I think you're probably right there. Constructors looking very good for Racing Point, drivers looking very good for Casper. Just have to see how they do in France. It could be a double celebration for the Pink Panthers.
Well, let's see if the Pink Panthers panther up then. Well, I tell you what, Luke, it looks like that next week, well, I'm not going to have you for the rest of the season, potentially. I'm going to curse it now. Nooney's not going to be here, but Nooney, of course, standing in for the last 2 races of the season, so this might be the last time I speak to you for the rest of the season. It probably won't be. I'll probably see you somehow in 2 races' time. So, might see you in race 10. But, of course, Luke, thank you for joining me for the 5th time this season. It has been quite nice, actually, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been quite nice. It's been some good races as well. And tonight being another one of them. Who said Russia is boring? Well,
from Russia with love, we'll see you on the French Riviera in just 7 days' time from the beautiful and slightly, you might just say, very flat circuit of the Castellet, of course. But take care and see you next week here from Russia.